Okay, we are live streaming now. So this is the book launch for the Ruby Cradle, the second book in the Gemstone series. It is a prequel to the Emerald Lady and a continuation of the Emerald Lady. I started to write the Emerald Lady. How many years ago now, Athena? How many
10.
years have passed since that one? Uh,
It's about 10.
about 10, yeah. And I started writing the Ruby Cradle right after that. And here we are 10 years later, and we're releasing the Ruby Cradle. So it starts off where the Emerald Lady left off, and then we time jump backwards to talk about the dragons and things. And here goes a book. Let's see. I'll do it this way.
Nice.
There goes a nice book cover. Okay. Now, we have here my PR person, Mickey Mickelson,
Hi.
and he's with Creative Ed Publicity. And we have a good friend and author, writer, Michael Riggs. He lives down here in Virginia, in the Virginia Beach area. You're not exactly in Virginia Beach, though, right? Where are you at, Michael?
I live in Virginia Beach.
Oh, you do. Okay. Yeah. All right. I thought you was. I thought you was on the other side of the river. I thought you was in Hampton.
No, I've got family over there, but I'm in the beach.
And then we have the faraway person, my editor, and dare I say, business partner, the better half of the business, Athena, and she's in South Africa.
Hello.
So let's just kick it off. I don't know who will be on with us. If other people join in, we'll talk with them, and if not, then it'll be just the four of us.
That's okay.
So, Mike, I know you say you didn't have a lot of time, and you may not have a lot of time. Tell us where you're at right now and why you're there.
Oh, I'm in my hotel room at the Hilton Midtown in Midtown Manhattan, about a block or two from the Radio City Music Hall. And this is the week for Thriller Fest. And then the actual Thriller Fest is later in the week, but tomorrow they have a day called the FBI / Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Day. So that presentation from agents talking about all sorts of neat things. And then Tuesday's a master class where you can send in 10 pages and they have people that critique it. And then I think Wednesday and Thursday is Craft Fest. And this is the first year I've been, so I imagine it's just a lot of people talking about how to begin books, endings and all that kind of stuff. And then Friday and Saturday are Thriller Fest. And again, I've never been before, so I'm just waiting to see what happens.
And Michael is a crime writer, crime fiction, mystery writer. His books cover New Orleans.
Well, I write stories. I'm unlike James. I'm a new author. James has. It's always funny when we go out. I often share the same table with James when we sell books at fairs and events. And he's got like all these novels and stuff stacked up, and I've got a couple of short stories. I finally have a novel coming out, but I kidded with him that I can sell most of his books almost the same as he can. I've heard him make his spiel.
Yes, he has had to sit through my spiel for hours and hours at a time.
It was one. I remember one. We were in Smithfield, and some old Coast Guard guy came up, and they started talking about the days of sail and arguing with James where he got the picture for is it the Painted Lady or whatever the name of that?
Yeah, the Emerald Lady.
Emerald Lady.
She's on the wall behind me.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. So.
Yeah. And so, we had. I love nautical stuff. I love pirate stories. So the first one was Pirates and Mermaids, and then I just kept going with the idea of the mermaids because in the first one I said the mermaids live 1,000 years. So they will have a lot of history to cover. And so that's why I say the second book, the Ruby Cradle, is both a prequel and a continuation. So we go back through the life of Isabella, who is the daughter of the mermaid Shira and Jeremy, the one they turned into a pirate. And now she must, and they released the dragons in the first one, so that now she must find out how they captured all the dragons to begin with, and how to defeat the dragon. Because in order for them to rescue Shira, they went ahead and released the dragons back into the world. And in this case, the dragons are bad guys. I'm thinking I'll write a fantasy one day and I'll make dragons the good guys. I do like dragons. So I'm going to have to make a book about dragons and make them the good guys in the story.
Yeah, I'm not a science fiction person, and I'm still, I guess I understand dragons a little bit. I'm still working on the whole vampire thing, though, in romance, but that's an entirely different thing.
I'm also a science fiction writer, Mike.
Actually, yeah. I'm not a science fiction guy. You are. I'm not.
So yeah, but I'm coming out with a horror story about vampires. It's the only monster story that I like. I don't really like. I like witches and I like vampires. They make sense to me. Zombies and things like that don't really make sense to me. I have too much science to go into that to make it work for me. But vampires, I can get behind that. Witchcraft, I can get behind that.
I think it's good to branch out, to be honest, James.
Yeah.
You've done lots of different things, and I think it's good that you're branching out to those areas, to be honest.
Yes, thank you. And Athena been branching out. Athena came to me as a romance writer. Well, we kind of like found each other out there, and she has 4 romance books out, and actually a 5th one coming out, but we'll never see that one. and I know. I keep giving her a hard time about that story. It's all written. It's already written because we split her other book in 2, and then she went to becoming a fantasy writer too. So she's working on a fantasy. Tell us a little bit about the fantasy you're working on.
So it involves jinn. So it's humans and jinn, and there's
not the drink jinn.
That's the DJI.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
It's the other jinn. Yes.
Yes. Genies. In other words, in Western language, it's the genies. But yes, so I'm rewriting I'm using the mythology as is, but at the same time twisting it a little bit. And so there is time travel. So the jinn can travel into the future, but not the past. So they come from medieval times to this time, contemporary. And then it's a case of trying to solve a mystery and murder that has happened in the past, and the answer lies in the future. So we'll see. I'm working hard on it. And as I was telling James, I'm deleting all the obsolete, long-winded sentences and all the unnecessary words, because I'm already standing at 111,000 words. So I want to keep it at 120, because otherwise it's just too long.
Is James your publisher?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's my editor. She's my editor. I'm a publisher. Together we formed Rock Hill.
Oh, interesting. I think I get James a little ticked off because whenever I introduce him, as we're out there selling books, I call him a Renaissance man because he kind of does everything. From writing to publishing to. Have you seen his van with the stuff emblazoned, the wraparounds or whatever they call them?
Mm.
Those are her books on the wraparound.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
The romance books are her books on the wraparound. She has four romance books out there.
Okay.
No, her pictures are upstairs. Her book cover is upstairs. I
Well,
have book covers on my wall,
yeah.
and the other ones are upstairs in my living room. So, but it's on the van. She's the other set of books that's up there.
Interesting.
So she has gone from being a romance writer to now writing fantasy. As we all like to branch out, we all like to do different things.
When you pull up at stoplights, do people ask you about stuff?
Oh no, but I noticed people are trying to take pictures. People are trying to take pictures of the van because it had the UC codes on them. That the little square codes. So I noticed sometimes I'm wondering why are these people staring, because I forget about that and I'm seeing them staring and like they're trying to hold the phone up and everything. And I forget the fact that I put those UC codes on there because I'm like, are they taking pictures of me? And no, they're taking pictures of the van. They're trying to get the code to get to the website.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's always fun because it always throws me sometimes. I'm sitting at the stoplight and I'll see someone just like kind of hold up the phone and I'm thinking, are they trying to get a picture of me?
How do y'all track? How do you track sales? I don't know if this is off the subject or not of the
sales.
Yeah.
Come through like 90 days later, so it's hard to track exactly what's working. Something's working if you start seeing sales.
But how do you? Yeah. Do you get reports because you're the publisher, or how do you know?
Oh yeah. I can go in and I can get the report. Well, yeah, because I'm the publisher from Ingram, I get the reports and I can see the monthly what went through monthly, but so then you don't get paid for 90 days anyway.
Okay. So you have things that an author like me doesn't have because since you're the publisher.
Yeah, I get to see the reports and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I run reports and then I can see which book sold, and I can't see who it's sold to or where it's sold. I can only see which avenue it went through, like whether it was POD, if it was in this country or that country. I get that kind of information from Ingram and from Amazon. I get that information from them too, so I can see what's on the different websites. So I'll know if stuff is selling in different countries. One of my writers, Patty, when we launched her book, between February and November, the title of her book, Women's Literature, she was selling so many books in Australia, and she lives in Massachusetts or something. She lives up north, and
Maine. Doesn't she say Maine or Rhode Island? Yeah, one of them.
Yeah, one of the New England states. And I was wondering, how did you get a following in Australia? Who do you know in Australia? And she told me, I don't know anybody in Australia. And it just so happened that I guess the Australians loved the title or loved the story. And she was doing really good in Australia for the first couple of months of selling the book. But see, I seen that information come through, and all her sales were coming in out of Australia. And I was like, wow. Now I see some people come through from like Japan and stuff like that for me and other people.
But James, I think at the time of, and I'm trying to remember, but I think at the time, I think I booked Patty for some Australian coverage, and that's what kickstarted it.
Ah, yes. Okay. Mickey's my PR guy. Like I said, his company does our publicity and everything. So he books us for podcasts and interviews and news release, So yeah. So thanks, Mickey. You did a good job.
What do you find, Mickey, the most effective marketing techniques, and do you have anything specific planned for the Emerald Mermaid meets whatever it is coming out? The Emerald, the Ruby Slippers, Mermaids Ruby Slippers.
Butchering this, Mike, and butchering me.
Prince here, right?
No, Michael, my process is pretty much like I represent about 110 authors worldwide. Mm-hmm. Actually, I represent some authors who are going to be at Thriller Fest, to be honest.
Okay.
but my process it doesn't change in terms of what to do and what not to do. My focus is building the branding of the individual rather than the specific book. So, I mean, with James's new book, we're going to get some reviews on it and we're going to get some stuff, but he's going to be booked on several podcasts and the leveraging will be the branding of him. And that's how I've always done it. I've been doing this for 10 years. And I find that if you don't focus as much publicity and aspects around the book specifically, and you focus your branding around the individual, you tend to have more success overall. And we have, to be honest.
Yeah, I just did a podcast, a live interview podcast yesterday.
She blurbs.
Yeah, she blurbs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was on Killer with Ice Highs. So she wanted to talk about that one. And we did talk a little bit about the Ruby Cradle since I told her I was releasing that one today. But
right.
Yeah, so she wanted to talk to me about the Killer series. And so we had a nice little talk about that. And it was fun. Mickey knows some great people. We know some great interviewers and stuff. So we get a couple of good. See, and when you say, do I see any traction from these things? Now, on some of this stuff, I can see the traction right away. Like I can see it within a couple of days or something like that. I can go in and I can look to see if any sales, anything hit Amazon or Ingram or something like that. So I can see I can see if some of this stuff is hidden, and I can see some traction from it that way. And then, of course, you have to wait for the money to roll in.
Do you find that, and maybe it's too early to say, but as you come out with the Ruby, tell me again, the Ruby
Cradle.
The what?
The Ruby Cradle.
The Ruby Cradle, not the Ruby Slippers, Michael. The Ruby Cradle. When you come out with the Ruby Cradle, have you found, or do you think you will find that people will buy more of the Emerald book?
The Emerald Lady?
Yeah, that one.
I don't know, because the Emerald Lady sells really well by itself. People love that book. You've been at the People love the book. They love the idea of the nautical themes and everything. But I find that when I write series, it's hard to sell the second, third, and fourth book in the series because people always want to go back and read the first one. So the first books always sell well, and then as things go on, you start picking up on the seconds and thirds. It usually doesn't go the other way around. People usually don't read the second book and say, "Oh, let me go back and read the first." If you do a really good job in writing series, you do some backcasting to where you tell a little bit of the backstory, so that way people don't have to really go back or they're not lost in the story. And a lot of my stories, even though they're series, they're meant to be standalone series, so you don't have to go back and read the other books. I believe that even in the series, that story should be a complete story. It shouldn't be a wait till next week for something to happen, or we picked up and just start going out of the blue, so you have no idea who the characters are or who the people are or what the situation is. So you have to make it. You have your characters from your first book, and you bring them back in. You give them, a good piece of knowledge, so okay, so this must have happened in the first book. I didn't read it, but I know who this person is, and then you go on from there. And I find that really works when you're writing series. That way, if people fall into the middle of it, and I had a couple of reviewers who told me they read like the second or third book in Killer, and never read the first ones or whatever, and loved the story because they didn't have to. They weren't relying on knowing the story from before. The story was the story that they were reading.
But you gave them enough that if they went back and read the first one, they would be.
Yeah. I did have some people say, "Oh, I went back and read the first book or the second book, and it gave me a fuller idea what the next book was about and why everything happened in the next book." But they didn't have to read it, but when they went back and read it, they appreciated the whole storyline a bit more.
Well, who designs your covers, and Does that same person did the one for Athena's book or books?
I don't know who did Athena's. Well, we did your book, did we, Athena? We did a couple of covers
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Did you do them on your own, or did you have someone to do them for you?
I do some of my covers my own. I have another cover artist out in California. She does some. So it all depends on some of the killer books. She did the covers on them. On this cover, I did this one myself. Let's see. So the girl on there is a person I know who's
There's a dragon, and a castle, and sort of a person's face.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So she's a person I knew that I just decided, you know what? There's a thing with eyes and faces in the book, so I wanted to continue that on. If you ever look at the Emerald Lady real closely, there's a set of eyes in the sails, and it's because the mermaids have this control over things. So there's like a mental.
Yeah. Well, my memory of the Emerald, the one with the ship, is that what really draws people in? Is especially in our area down in Tidewater? Yeah, the Emerald Lady and the Emerald.
And in there,
the Emerald slippers.
Yeah, the Emerald Lady, the Ruby Slippers. I couldn't use Ruby Slipper because I'd probably get sued by Disney.
Yeah.
They don't let nothing go by.
Yeah, because that's not trademarked, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're trademarked, but you never know.
Not.
Yeah.
But Michael, when we're marketing the books, I mean, now that this second book is now coming out, we're going to market the full series. That's how we're going to have success overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always market the books as bundles too.
Exactly.
If you buy both books or whatever, then you can get a discount on the price and you can get both books. So I always have bundles of stories, even for everybody else's book too, that I publish.
Mm-hmm.
If you publish more than one book, then we try to start bundling them together. And if you have a series of books, then we put the whole series together.
We have the one with the mermaid series, I'll call it, and then you have the one with the lady that's the killer on the Ice Killer or whatever.
Yeah.
The series.
Yeah, that's part of the Killer series. Yeah, there's 4 books in that series.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And Athena, is yours in a series, or you have several books?
So my romances are standalones, and then this one looks like there's too much information, so I think I need to split it. So I think it will be a trilogy. So this is the lamp, then the next one will be the ring, and then the last one will be the gate. So.
And she has a series for All I Ever Wanted that I forced her to break the book in 2, and that's why I tease her about not finishing the other book, because she actually wrote the full book and everything. Then I told her, well, let's break this one in 2, and we'll put out, what was the first one? Jessie. All I Ever Wanted Jessie, and All I Ever Wanted. What was her mom's name?
Juliet, her grandma's name.
Yeah, Juliet. So, but because when you do something like that, when you take a book and you break it, you have to kind of like give it that crossover, from one story to the other. Since we already printed the first one, and she, have the second one, she has to go back and do a little bit of manipulating the second part of the story, rather than the way it was written as one continuous story. So that's why I keep joking her about, one day we'll get the second book out. But she had moved on since then. She had moved on to fantasy. So, maybe she'll do the whole fantasy series, then we'll get her back into romances. Maybe she'll go into sci-fi. She can write a great sci-fi novel.
Well, what's the new? Maybe it's not new by now. romantasy.
Romantasy. Yes. So, yeah. So romantasy is a romance that happens in a fantasy, but the romance is the main point of the story. And then there is fantasy with a romance, means the fantasy the is the main part of the story, but there happens to be a romance in it. So that's the distinction. So there's fantasy with romance, and then there's romantasy, which is a romance, the main story in a fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that until she told me that, you know.
Crazy stuff.
So,
Yeah,
Mickey,
you have to
Yes.
read about that.
Yes, James.
what do you have planned for me? What's coming up in my life?
Well, we'll do the press release. We'll get that out. There are a number of reviewers that I use that will get reviews on that book, as well as the Emerald Lady, because it is a series. And then we'll simply start booking you for podcasts and do like we normally do. So you'll be busy.
Thank you. I know. I know. I talk to Mickey. Well, I don't talk to Mickey every day, but I get emails from Mickey every day. And I
Pretty
try to respond to a couple of them at least.
Yeah, and you'll get some magazine coverage and things like that. And I think the one thing I am going to do differently this time, though, is try to leverage some local media in your area around the launch of this book and see if we can get something going there as well.
Oh, good. Yeah.
But you'll if I have my way and everything goes in conjunction, we'll have traction.
I'm not real good at planning things out in advance, so Mickey usually learns about these things quite often just before they happen, or
Yes.
in a month or two before they happen.
Yes.
Unlike what most publicists would like, 6 months lead time.
I would love 6 months. That would be a dream.
I'm going to start doing that for my other writers. I'm going to start giving you some more advanced notice. Me, I'm more of a shoot from the hip type guy anyway. You know,
Yeah. It
before
affects
we go,
what we can do
boom.
it affects what we can do from an editorial standpoint for reviews and stuff. But I have enough relationships in this industry that we'll have coverage.
Yeah, because usually I write the books, Athena edits the book, I get it back, and then I say, okay, let's go.
Yeah. So that's my plan, though, James. That's my plan. So I hope
Okay.
you're okay with it, because
Oh, I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it.
yeah.
But yeah, so I know it's because for me it's hard to sit on something. Once it's done and ready to go, it's hard for me to sit on. It would be nice to say, okay, this is all ready to go. Let's launch it in 6 months. You know,
Right. No, it's okay.
I'm hard. It's hard for me to do that.
I don't think you're unhappy. We usually get you and your team coverages. So
Oh yeah, no, I'm not unhappy. I know I'm making your job harder, but I'm not unhappy.
yeah. But that's what the plan's going to be.
Good.
Yeah.
Like I said, you do a lot for me, Mickey. So
Well,
I
thank you.
appreciate it.
I appreciate you both. I appreciate your entire team. So yeah.
All right. I'm
Well,
not going to get going on.
James, thank you very much for inviting me to this. I'm just amazed at like I've kidded you before. I mean, I guess maybe I'm more of a friend than a fan, and I guess I'm a kind of a fan and a friend. I don't know, whatever.
Hey, Mike, do you have any books out there with you that you want to promote?
Well, my debut novel came out in April, and that's one of the big reasons I'm up here is at Thriller Fest because
Where is it?
they have a debut author program. So
Yeah. No, it's good.
You're talking about this one.
it's around. Oh,
Yeah,
that's it.
this
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
The one that you kindly bought when we were in Chesapeake.
Yeah. I haven't started it yet. Now, since I launched my book, I'm going to start reading this one so that
Very
when we
good.
meet up
Okay.
in Tennessee, I can at least say, yeah, I read it.
Okay. Yeah, it's very good.
But it's called The Voices of Elysian Fields. Is that what you said?
It's set in New Orleans, and the storyline basically is that a father who's a doctor becomes the coroner of Orleans Parish, which is basically the city of New Orleans, and he now has the opportunity to right the systemic wrong that led to his daughter's death in a school shooting 12 years before. And of course, to do that, he's got to get through all sorts of autopsies and other investigations and a crooked mayor and an incompetent police chief and all that wonderful stuff. But the real through line is his, lasting grief and finally his ability to do something meaningful about it that will change the system and so on and so forth. And
I look forward to reading it.
okay. And you can, and anytime I don't want to give anything away, but most of the food restaurants I talk about are real, and I went and I experimented with them. But a couple of things I made up. I'll have to see if you can figure out what it was.
Well, I'll know once we get to New Orleans.
Yeah.
I'll be able to look them up once I get to New Orleans.
Yes.
Take me to some of your favorites.
Yes. We'll
The
do
one
that.
thing I do like is eating. And you know what? You're in New York, and the one thing about New York, great food. There is all kinds of good restaurants. Up there goes the thunder. There's all kinds of great restaurants, and you have to try a Dirty Frank. You have to eat a Dirty Frank. You have to eat a Frankfurter from one of the hot dog stands out there on the street.
And they know what a Dirty Frank is. Is that like with everything on it? Or
Yeah.
they
Well,
just roll
yeah,
it in
the Frank
they
itself
roll
is
the gutter?
what's dirty because the water, they never change the water in those Frankfurter stands.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
Okay.
it's probably the same Frankfurter water that when I was like 10 in that stand.
It's like the sourdough bread where you start with the starter and it's like 400 years old and you just add to it or whatever.
Yep. So, if nothing else, you have to have two things. New York pizza from a real Italian pizzeria.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you have to have a Dirty Frank from a hot dog stand.
I'll keep that in mind.
And you're right there by Radio City Music Hall. So
Right.
you're going to see a lot of them up and down Fifth Avenue.
Oh, I took a quick run around the
7-Eleven.
block of the hotel, and there were at least 3 carts and a couple of food trucks and several storefronts.
Yeah. So you're going to want to do that. If you don't do anything else, if you don't go any, you can go to all the high end restaurants and everything. There's all kinds of nice restaurants and stuff. But you want the real New York flavor. You want to hit the mom and pop pizza shop.
Well, do I have to order a Dirty Frank, or will I just?
No, you just order a Frank. They're all dirty.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, they're all dirty. They come dirty.
Okay.
Thank you
and
for
get it with red onions and sauerkraut.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And if they end up doing an autopsy on me, I'm going to come after you.
Yeah, you can haunt me. Don't worry about it. You can haunt me if it.
All right. Well, congratulations on your new book.
yes,
Thank you.
James. Congrats.
Yeah, I tell you, you have
Thanks
so
for
many
including me,
accomplishments.
James.
Yes. Thanks a lot. I'm glad y'all are here. We're going to wrap this up because it's really late where Athena's at. she's well past the midnight hour. So, and I'm probably going to lose power in the next thunderclap anyway. It was right over my head. I see the lightning.
Okay.
Before everything goes to black.
Well, congratulations, James, and thank you again for everything.
Well done.
Thank you.
As Athena said, well done.
Thank you. And it's great to see you all again.
Yeah.
Great to talk to you.
Okay.
And
Take care.
let me know when you're back in town.
All right, we'll do. And nice to meet you, Athena and Mickey.
Nice to meet you as
Nice
well,
to meet
Michael.
you.
Have
Yeah.
fun at Thriller Fest.
Yep.
I'll do my best. All right, y'all take care.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Okay.
All right.
And
So,
and there it is.
yes, and there it is.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Mickey is still backstage. Okay, Mickey. He's gone. So it's just me and you now. Okay. So wasn't too long. I didn't see anybody online, so it's like I could see people if they were making comments or something on the side, but I didn't see anybody on the side. So it's like, okay, I guess it was just us 4. So that's cool.
You know.
Yeah, like you said, it's Father's Day for one thing. And a couple of people say, "Hey, you know it's Father's Day," and I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I didn't know that when I set this
Yeah.
in."
Okay.
Yeah.
Next time we will keep all of that in mind.
Oh yeah. Next time we'll do this thing. We'll actually plan for it. We'll get a couple of months in advance. We'll give Mickey a heads up so he knows.
Uh-huh.
Let's be one of these type of thing. Like, okay, let's do it. All right. Good night. I shall
Okay,
talk
love.
to you tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes, I know you don't have to go nowhere, so I'll talk to you
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Until tomorrow.
Maybe you get to go see the baby again.
Yeah, depends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, love.
All
Good
right.
night.
Good
Until
night.
tomorrow.
Yep. Bye, baby.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
You do these things well. I'm not good at these things.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing them now for a while, so it's like okay,
Hmm. I
I've been on
see. There
podcast.
is like a professionalism in it
Yeah, you get
already.
comfortable after a while talking to people.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah.
And I'm
Okay.
glad Mike joined in. I'm glad Michael was able to jump on and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and him, we spend a lot of times at these different
Yes.
festivals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
and we
that's
usually team
interesting
up.
that you
Yeah,
both going to do those two coming up.
yeah.
So that's
He was at the
mm,
last ones.
mm,
Yeah, he was at the last ones. I don't think he was at Killer. He was at the Bouchicon. I don't think he was at Killer.
yes. Yeah,
So
well, he said it's the first time he's going to do that one.
yeah, so that's good that he's going to be at that one too. He
Yeah.
writes a lot of short stories. He has a couple of anthologies out there. He's in like 4 or 5 anthologies and stuff like
Yeah.
that. This is his
Okay.
first full novel, but he has 4 or 5 anthologies that he's written in and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
uh,
You know that you wrote the Ruby Cradle Bock. You didn't put 2 O's.
what?
It's the Ruby Cradle Bock launch.
Oh, is it? Oh, I missed the no. Okay. Oh, there you go.
Uh-huh.
Maybe that's why no one got it. Maybe people are like, what's a Bach?
What are they launching? You know, and
Yeah.
that there is a cradle word in it as well as I don't know, but it sounds dodgy. Um,
Uh,
okay, love.
all right.
Until
I'll,
tomorrow.
I'll talk to you.
Okay.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good
Yeah.
night. Get some sleep.
Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Bye, baby.